What did someone say in court that made you burst out laughing? Years ago, I was working part-time as a public defender. I was assigned a rather unusual case of shoplifting. The alleged criminal was a senior, a student at a large Midwestern university. He was accused of theft of several items from a very large store, offering everything from groceries to clothing to sporting goods, and so on. When he passed the registers, he got tabbed by 2 loss prevention personnel and escorted to the security office. He had on a style of pants that had buttoned straps at the ankles. As the security photo showed, they had ballooned out considerably. The young man had a 6-pack of beer, stuffed 1 can at a time down one leg, a bottle of wine, and a small bottle of champagne down the other, and 2 Idaho baker potatoes in the pockets of his parka. And in the pockets of his pants were 53 packs of alms. The crowning achievement in this eclectic selection was his choice of meat. He had 2 T-bone steaks. One was in the waistband of his trousers in the back, the other was stuck down the front. The photo showed 2 obvious rectangles in his trousers. I was very good at negotiating fair resolutions that saw justice done, but educated first-time offenders about the life of a criminal without making too large a stain on their lives. Often, judgment would be held in abeyance, pending alcohol abuse classes, payment of fees, and completion of several hours of community service. At a pre-trial conference with my counterpart, the deputy prosecutor, Liz and I managed to reach a plea agreement. I kept making jokes, which kept Liz laughing. Still, we maintained a good professional mental attitude. In his case, we decided on 120 hours, basically 3 weeks of full-time employment. Cleaning up trash from the side of the roads and cleaning up dog poop at the animal shelter did make an impression on people. Wednesdays were half days for court, and my client was required to be there at 9 a.m. We arranged for the court reporter to call his case last. The judge was a woman of great integrity, strict but fair, with nearly 30 years on the bench. She'd heard just about everything and had a good sense of humor, although it was often hidden when dealing with miscreants. Both Liz and I were professionals, but this case begged for some fun. As we were reciting the terms of the plea agreement and the defendant was admitting the elements of the crime, the judge kept looking back and forth at Liz and I, wondering what we were up to. She called us up to the bench and asked why we were being somewhat evasive with this case. I told the judge the case presented some elements of a delicate nature and should probably be mentioned off the record. When the defendant had left the courtroom, Liz remained silent, but nodded her head. It was obvious she was trying to suppress her laughter. The judge took the hint and accepted the plea agreement. When the defendant left, it was only Liz, me, the court reporter, and the judge left. In the courtroom, she said, "What is going on in this case? You've got Miss Blank trying to keep from laughing out loud, and you're too much of a scoundrel for this to be routine. What is this thing of such a delicate nature that it shouldn't be on the record?" I asked if she had read the police report, and of course, she had skimmed it. After 30 years, it was just a routine case, but now it piqued her interest. As she read, her eyebrows kept arching, and she finally peered over the report and said, "Are you suggesting that there was an excuse for this?" "Yes, Your Honor. I'll explain it to you, as I did for Liz." And I launched into my spiel with a straight face. "You see, Your Honor, it was getting close to Valentine's Day, and the defendant went into place with the intent to make a special dinner for some girl. He forgot to pick up a cart, so he started to pick out the items he needed: champagne, wine, beer, baked potatoes, steaks. He thought perhaps that he could pick up a fresh salad at the student union that day, and in case he impressed the young lady, he was prepared. He wouldn't get her pregnant. By now, Liz is sitting at her table, both hands holding her head and trying not to laugh out loud. The court reporter was already laughing. The judge was trying to keep from smiling, and I continued. As I said, he forgot a cart and had to stuff items wherever he could find room. He was headed to the register to pay when he saw the flower boutique just beyond. He was about to pick out a nice bouquet when the LPO stopped him under the mistaken impression that he was trying to steal the items. The judge finally started laughing and said, "Mr. Winters, that was the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard. Don't you ever play poker with my husband. He'll lose his shirt with that face of yours." You may have Liz convinced with that glib tongue, but not me with that description of me. I offered to buy lunch at a New Mexican restaurant. I had been there a couple of times as it was just a block from my office, but the others had not. I had one more thing to say. You know, there's one thing that has puzzled me about this case, though. The judge had stood up and was about to step down from the bench. And what's that? I wonder which steak he was going to offer her. The one from the front or the one from the back?